Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World Daily with me, John Jordan. I am looking at DAUWs.com and the data for Splinterlands. Some interesting stuff has been happening over the last 2 weeks with Splinterlands. So let's have a look at it. So we can see here on this graph we have sort of three lines. We have the number of users, daily active unique wallets, the volume of transactions, the volume of the transactions, and the number of transactions. So I'm going to switch volume off because that's don't really want to see that. But what's interesting here is we can see over the last 7 days. This is showing users. So how many users we've got? 130,000 daily active unique wallets, and we have transactions 1.5. You see it's sort of actually dropping down, coming down quite a bit now. So what's interesting with Splinterlands is it has been the biggest blockchain game in terms of daily activity for about the past sort of year or so. If we look over 30 days, we can see this. So back here at the end of May, users were 350,000 daily active unique wallets. So we can see quite a big drop. We're actually down now. Trying to do the maths. That's like a 6/7 to be down. We're down to 50,000 now. Yeah, so 50,000 over. So quite a heavy drop off. But so let's sort of think about what's been going on here. So Splinterlands is a trading card game on the Hive blockchain, and there's always been this sort of thinking around how many bots are involved with Splinterlands, and we've never sort of really known that. And the developer has always said they're not too bothered about people using bots. Bots are just automated accounts. So someone might set up, they might set up a bot farm. Obviously, that costs a certain amount of resources, but you can set up 10, 20, 100, maybe 1,000 if you've got the resources, and basically write little scripts that just basically effectively act like a player. And the thing for Splinterlands is it's had this ability for people to sort of just you have to pay $10 to make a blockchain account, so you can play for free. You have to upgrade that for $10. So if you're running a bot farm, you do have to pay the $10 to upgrade it. But it's been fairly easy to extract value just by sort of playing daily quests and sort of getting up the reward ladder. And over time, Splinterlands, a bit like Axie Infinity, has been sort of dealing with how it gives out rewards. So, and the big issue for all these blockchain games is if you're giving out rewards for people who play, what happens if there's people who are just sort of spending those rewards or sort of extracting value, not putting anything back in. So as with Axie Infinity, Splinterlands has been making changes. So one of them made about a year ago was had like a power structure, so you could only get up to certain your sort of ability to go up the leaderboard was gated by the number of cards you had. People get free cards to play, which they can't sell, they're not NFTs. But as you buy more NFTs or win more NFTs, your sort of power level goes up, and that allows you to get more rewards if you're good enough. So that was one thing. But also at the same time, they've been giving away their SPS token as an airdrop. Again, that's been sort of gated by the more power you have in the game. So that's been a free token. Again, the price of that with a lot of blockchain tokens has gone down recently quite a lot. And again, I think that's been linked to the fact that there's bots in the system, and they've just been extracting this token and sort of selling it off over time. So you have a lot of extraction going on. So they did a big change at the end of May, where you see this first big drop off. So what's happening here? I don't. This is me looking from the inside out. But basically, what happened here is for the people who were playing the game to begin with, you used to be able to get rewards sort of straight away. Now you have to sort of win a certain number of battles and get out of the novice, get off the novice leaderboard and onto the first sort of earning leaderboard, which is called Bronze 3. So you had to win a certain amount of battles to get onto that leaderboard, and obviously if you lost, you sort of go back down again, get demoted. And the rewards have also been sort of slashed for just very basic play. So basically, what's happened is the reward structure has been sort of reconstituted towards players who play at the higher end. So the more skilled players with more NFTs, and the ones who are playing more as well. So more NFTs in your account, more skilled players, and playing more as well. So there's always this sort of rule of thumb in Splinterlands. You basically have to sort of there's a sort of, if you win like 25 games a day, that sort of caps your reward structure. So it's quite a lot. I'm not very good at Splinterlands, although I've played it sort of quite a bit for the last 2 years. So what's happening here is clearly we can see the number of users has dropped. This is the first big drop we have. So we're losing sort of kind of 2/3 of users pretty much overnight. So one way of thinking that is a bunch of bots. So if you're running a big bot farm, you're extracting value, but it costs you to run the computers. You know, it costs you obviously to buy computers in the first place, and it costs you to sort of run them electricity, and it also costs you in terms of internet. So I don't know what the costs are. I don't run bot farms, but if suddenly a lot of your low-level bots are just not earning anything anymore because you haven't written a very good algorithm to actually get them to actually win. They're just playing loads of times and they'll win. You know, if they win 1% of the time, then you can, you know, if they play 100 games, they're going to win one game. But if it's been switched off, that now, you know, you have to actually play, you know, win like 10 games, and you can get demoted again, then a lot of these bots now are uneconomic. So I think that's the big drop off there that we see. What's interesting is however, the number of transactions, it does drop, but it doesn't drop as much. So we're going from sort of 2.4 million, getting down to about getting down to 1.2. So that's sort of 50%. So the number of users has gone down by 2/3, the number of transactions has gone down by half. So obviously a whole bunch of users coming out has taken the transactions down, but the people who are still there are obviously the people who have more transactions per wallet. So those are either people who have good bots and have bought NFTs, or they are human players who are playing well. So I think these are the two trends we're seeing. The other thing I'm not so sure about is, and again we maybe see it here over the last day or so, we see this drop off of users again. Now, is this bots or is this real users? So that's the sort of interesting thing. I don't know. I haven't got good data on that at all. But clearly, if you are a not very good player like me playing Splinterlands, it's got a lot harder. So now you're not playing so many bots who don't care if they lose, because they're just playing all the time and sort of churning out, you know, grinding out real results. Now you're probably playing real players who are going to be a lot better. Who probably, if they're playing this, probably have better decks than you, probably know what they're doing, which is not hard for me. And I've just found that playing Splinterlands it's been much harder to get victories, and you have to put a lot more time into it. So clearly over time what's happened is there's been some systemic changes which have reduced the number of bots playing, and also that has had a knock-on effect, which means players are playing against certainly entry-level players like me are playing against high-level players who are just much harder to play against. So you're seeing this sort of coupled effect. Mainly, I think the big drop off is dropping off from bot accounts, and I think we're seeing some drop off of human players as well. Now, obviously, when we see very big drop offs like this is the majority. This is going to be bots, clearly. I don't think you lose over 50% of your players of a game that's been out for like 4 years overnight just because the game's got harder. I mean, I think you see a more general decline there if that's human players. So I think this is more bots. So again, it's interesting. What I'll be looking at to see over the next sort of weeks and months is, do we see these bots coming back on? So do people basically go, right, I'm not going to put my bots in Splinterlands anymore, I'll go off and find something else for them to do? Or do they go, actually Splinterlands, it's going to be it's going to be more rewards, I just need to spend a bit more time thinking about it, as a retooling the bots as they call it. So will we see the bots come back on? And as I say, Splinterlands don't really care if people are using bots or not. What they do care is if you're using bots, that you're spending money buying NFTs, renting NFTs, putting money into the ecosystem, which is now what all play to earn games are now looking to see. Is it's fine for people to earn money in games by playing, but they need to be skilled and they need to also be investing in the first place. So that's a better balance than what we've seen. And previously, it's been obviously very extractive, and we've seen that result in a sort of boom bust sort of thing, or people calling them Ponzi schemes, which are not technically Ponzi schemes, but we know the sort of dynamic people are talking about. So interesting to see that on Splinterlands, now down, from a peak now down to from 355,000 down to 50,000. So I can't do the math at the moment, but that's getting on for like 80%, something like that. 80% sort of drop off over the last month or so. So I still like Splinterlands. It's not changed really as a game. It's just changed its reward structure, and that changes how people play that. And we know blockchain games have to deal with bots, and the best way to deal with bots is allow people to use them, but make sure the bots are acting as players and putting money into the ecosystem. So there we go. Certainly keeping an eye on Splinterlands in the coming days. Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe to the channel. See you again soon.